So what if you were able to just completely change everything and you stopped working against yourself, you stopped beating yourself up, you started acting 100% in alignment with who you are and what you're committed to and all of that stuff. You had the awareness, you had the understanding, you had self-control, you could get rid of all these conflicts. What if you were able to just snap your fingers and change everything basically? How much more money would you make on a monthly basis? I want to ask a specific money question in Mary Kay because I want to talk about money for a second. How much more money would you be making in Mary Kay? And I want you to type this in. Type this into the webinar chat box. If you were to just clear the sabotage that you have, how much more money would you be making? Somebody says 2,500, 5,000 a month, thousands a month, thousands, 10,000. Wow, $5,000, $500, thousands, at least 50% more. Great, thousands, 10,000. So most of you are pretty ambitious in what you could create, right? Somebody says, I already saw 1,000 tangibly. Awesome. So now what I want you to do, somebody says, enough to cry about. See, I don't want you to live in this state of feeling not enough. You know, I don't want you to live in this state of being so restricted that you feel like crying. That's not the way life is meant to be lived, in my opinion. So whatever dollar amount you just said, just to be a little more conservative, I want you to cut that in half. So if you said 5,000, I want you to cut it in half, $2,500. And I want you to apply that to the cost of not taking action. See, most people are more afraid of taking action than they are of not taking action. The way the human brain works is it says, if I take action, what bad thing might happen? And the answer to that keeps us stuck. The answer to that is, she might say no, I might feel embarrassed, I might fail. The human brain is programmed to think about the negative consequences of taking action, because remember, the human brain is programmed to keep us in the comfort zone, and the best way to do that is to not take any significant action that could rock the boat and get us into emotional trouble. So it's designed to keep us safe, which means it works on the question, what's the cost of doing? What's the cost of taking action? And the answers are usually scary, and that's why it causes us to not want to take action. That's why we stay stuck, because we're afraid of a negative outcome. But what if you change the question of what's the cost of not taking action? See, the most successful and most significant people that I've met are more afraid of regret than they are failure. The regret of not living life the way they want to live life, the regret of not making an impact, the regret of not making a difference, the regret of not evolving into the person that they could evolve into, the regret of not teaching their family what they want to teach them, the regret of not becoming the person that God created them to become. That kind of regret is so much deeper than failure. I mean, what's worse, the idea that you don't become who you're meant to become, or the idea that some woman says no if you ask her a question? What's worse? I believe for all of us, the regret of not taking action is worse. It's just most of us are not programmed to think that way. And so I want you to be programmed from this point forward to think that way. Because asking yourself, what's the cost of not taking action, will give you a much better answer than what's the cost of taking action. If you live your life, what's the cost of taking action, the best thing you can do is solidify exactly where you are right now, because you'll constantly be afraid. Your default response will be why you shouldn't act. And I want your default response to be why you should act. I don't want the fire of fear to be in front of you that you have to move away or you have to move through. I want the fire of fear to be underneath you, the one that you have to move off of. That's what the most significant people are driven by, the fear of regret. So let's take that number. If you said $5,000, I want you to cut it in half. So let's say $2,500. Now this is your number. This is your number. You said if you were to shift all of the internal sabotage, this is the money you could be making. Then that's the money you're losing every month. That's the money you're leaving on the table. That's the money you're losing. That's the impact you're not having every single month, in your words, that you don't clear your sabotage. Now, I'm not saying this to try to get you to, buy something from my company. If you do that, that's great. We'll support you however we can. But if you don't, that's great too. But you got to think this way. What's the actual cost every single month that I don't make this change? And I'm not ever going to put answers in anybody's mouth. This is your answer. But if you start thinking that way, then your brain will be operating around the fear of regret versus the fear of failure. And you have to operate that way. Now, finally, let's talk about money. If you don't have all the money that you want and you're in Mary Kay, it's an alignment problem. It's not a skill set problem. It's an alignment problem. You're not fully aligned in your purpose, and you're not fully aligned with all of those identities and personalities we've been talking about. You have some operating identity that, when it's in control, keeps you from money or keeps you from keeping money. But here's the thing. You own an ATM machine. You are in business. You have the ability to sell products that are proven, that people want. These products are so proven that this company is well over 50 years old. It's one of the strongest companies on the planet. It's one of the strongest companies in all of direct sales. Why? Because these products are proven. So you have at your disposal proven products that you can sell at any time, which means you own an ATM machine, but you're not activating it. The reason you're not activating it is because of all the stuff that I've talked about over the last hour plus. So you have to invest in fixing the foundation, not in fixing the surface symptoms.